right, this is part 3. We are talking about sensory overload. Myself in this video. It's important. I'm going to continue where I left off, and this one, hopefully this is the last part, but I'll get more into personal experiences. But it's important to try and identify what sensory inputs and what situations or places, etc., that trigger your sensory overload. Make a list if needed, so you remember, and if it happens again, you can look at it with fresh eyes and start to change things little by little. As your eyes lift the veil of illusion, because there's a lot of illusion that we put on ourselves as well as others, know your triggers. Identify your safe spaces, your safe, not only out in the physical external, your safe places inside. Like, develop a routine, having a sensory toolkit that is made just for you because it's created by you, essentially. Watch your sleep schedule, how much you're sleeping. If you're sleeping too much, that causes disruption, or you're getting too little. So you got to find that perfect balance for you. Exercise, or just mindful movement. If you don't want to do more extensive exercise, little bits. Watching what we eat and drink, being conscious and aware. Drinking enough water, also important. And with, this is like a little thing I wrote here, but it's going to go into a different video that I'm doing later, but I'm going to say it anyways. But you'll feel this swirl floating stage where your body is in a free state or free falling. This is where the mind, body, and soul are to be made aware of what you need to feel and how you can refocus. Be your therapist and do not let your emotions of the past to haunt you or continue to disrupt you. So, with my own personal experiences through time, it took a lot of time. Eventually, I came to the conclusion to find the answer that I was looking for, I had to look at me, okay? I had to look at what was happening each time I was feeling frustrated, overwhelmed, whatever the case may be. It was an over of something, or, even under as well. But you'll look back and you'll see times throughout your life where you've blacked out, you've raged, you threw tantrums, you've done all these other things just like in this list, and didn't think more than, 2 thoughts about it, okay? Or maybe you have, but you don't know what to do with it. You didn't know what to do with it. So I'm going to give an example here. Hold on. I'm going to give one main example, but when you go to the feelings of like blacking out and rage, you're going to feel the same effects of like what I talk about, but it's when you go into these states, it's because you're unaware and you're letting it go past that initial trigger, because there's the initial trigger and then there's a waiting point to see what you're going to do with it, and then it does its own thing, because it can't just sit there. It's got to be in some kind of movement. But you can black out. You can do, stupid behavior without thinking. You can act without thinking. You can, you're not actively pulling from the conscious present moment. You're pulling from the past usually, okay? So, and these can happen for many different reasons, and it can happen like anxiety issues, like coming on out of nowhere and so on. So again, this example should help you to sort of put you in that state. But I was having a conversation with somebody, and some words were said, but with text, it's hard to tell how people are actually saying it, because when you read it, you're interpreting it from your own mind. It's not from their mind, but you may think you know their mind, but it's your mind sort of does a game sometimes. And sometimes that's to show you something as well, but it'll feel one way to you. So that's why it's important to sit and really, let the thoughts pass that come through. But then there was another thing said that triggered more emotions. And what it's doing, so what happens at this state, okay, is you are, when you're really triggered, like you're going into one of these moments when you're going to black out or you're going to flip out and you know it's coming, or you feel that blood sugar, draining, the blood pressure draining, you feel it coming on because you know what this feels like, or you should be aware of it. You feel the anxiety, the panic, the awaiting, but you pull yourself out. Like, sometimes if you can't do it around other people, you literally have to excuse yourself. If you have to go to the bathroom, walk away, do whatever, you literally need to find a spot where you can calm your mind. If you're not able to do it, because sometimes we do these when we're dealing with other people we may not like or we have disagreements with. And it's not only your thoughts you have to deal with, but you're dealing with what these other people are thinking and feeling as well. So anyways, excuse yourself, and you take, like, I took myself to the bathroom, and, I allowed myself that time before responding because I had many different responses that went through my head, and you'll go through the different arrangements of, so you're not going to feel all this right away. These are things that come through time. Like, each time I've gone through a triggering experience, I start asking myself questions, and this is why. So you go through the different thoughts, you go through anger, you go through wanting to say something hurtful back, you go through wanting to, it's just, you go through all these different thoughts, and then you want to be nice, and then you feel sorry, and then something else is said, and then that sends it right up the other loop, okay? So you have to calm yourself down. But what happens is you'll feel a swirling of energy in the solar plexus area. And this is when you're going to feel this. It's going to literally feel like swirling. This is what's causing the blood pressure and everything, the blood sugar, the body and functions to start to go haywire, is the swirling of energy, because it's triggered something within your body, just like autoimmune disease or whatever. It's triggering something somewhere else that's bringing it here for you. So it's swirling. You're feeling the different emotions. That's why it's best not to respond right away. It's best to take your time, to wait a day or a couple hours or a couple minutes, however long it takes you. So there's the swirling of emotions. And then I asked why am I feeling this? Why? Because I felt, I've been told same words in similar situations, and it triggers an emotional trauma, like from the past, from childhood, from other relationships, from other, it starts causing like one after the other to come at you, okay? And what it's doing is just bringing those up. And sometimes they're uncomfortable to think about, and you're gonna cry, you're gonna get angry. If you need to sit in that bathroom and cry and relax and cry again, do it. If you need to yell, if you need to just do whatever, but that's not what I did. I did cry, and I did get upset, and I wanted to get upset, but I was able to hold my composure. But what I felt with the swirling, that was different this time, because sometimes you'll get that anger mixed in there is what makes it. It's that fucking so you gotta let that swirl, and sometimes it goes up, and that's when we usually lose control, when it naturally goes up instead of going down. So have to do another part here. You gotta clear your throat, or you feel like you gotta let it out. It's something that just wants to, and it's trying to. But when it comes up to be recycled, and it comes back down another time. But in a different form, it's being transmuted. So how you let it go up, if you let it go up, if you go in a negative way, you're going to do more work. If it's more positive, it goes up and comes back down, and the next time it's a little more gentler. So when I felt this energy, I felt it go down this time. So next part.